in the mirror of truth that's sitting inside all of us in our heart, it is constantly trying to intuitively reveal to us something profound. It's whispering to us to guide us to live authentic lives where we're actually inspired by what we do, loving what we do with transcendental awareness, inspired, enthused, grateful, certain, present. I just wanted to spend a bit of time with you today and talk about an ancient story called the Mirror of Truth. Sometimes I call it the Mirror of Truth and Wisdom. There's a story of ancient times where there was a great mirror, and when you looked into the mirror, it revealed the secrets of the universe. Now, that was implied at the time theological connotations, so they call it the secrets in the mind of God. But I like to think of it from a more secular perspective of just the secrets of the universe. This mirror was perfectly smooth, perfectly shiny, and it had the great wisdom that all great seekers of wisdom search for. And this gave the power of youth, the power of vitality, the power of wisdom, and allowed people to excel and master the expression of their human existence. When you looked upon the mirror, if you were ready, if you were a student of wisdom yourself, it would reveal its secrets. If you were not ready, it would not reveal the secrets. When the student is ready, the teacher appears. That's the mirror. The mirror is really your own highest nature, the most essential you, your authentic self. It's a symbol of that. But the story is about this discovery of this mirror that's physical. Suddenly, vandals came in and stole the mirror. And everybody wanted a piece out of it, out of their passions of greed. And they broke the mirror into fragments and splinters and spread it, and everybody went to different directions, these vandals. And it was left in every part of the world. And all the fragments were hidden from commoners' gaze. But those that had discernment, had wisdom, would find and pluck out and locate the mirror of truth in its different splinters. And they would gather together and collate the information and put the pieces back together. And philosopher after philosopher and thinker after thinker, sincere mystic and theologians and scientists through the ages have been putting the mirror back together as the best they can. But there's cracks and missing pieces. And as a result of it, it's like when you actually get all the mirror pieces together, if it's not perfectly clear, you have puzzle pieces missing. You've done a puzzle, and if you've actually tried to play the puzzle, at first it's kind of a mystery. You don't know where are the pieces. It's very challenging, but slowly but surely the pieces come together and you eventually see the whole picture. That's the splinters coming together and being found. A syncretic development, which is a gradual amalgamation and synthesis of all the different splintering pieces throughout the world by great minds, have been gathered over the centuries, millennia, to put this mirror back together. I've spent 47, almost 48 years working on that project, gathering together as much information from the greatest minds who ever lived in every field. Well, not every field, but 299 fields, most fields. Trying to find the most common principles and laws of the universe that could be helpful in helping an individual master their life. Imagine a sand glass, an hourglass. You turn it over and it's filled with sand, and it slowly pours through this little opening and fills the base. And the base becomes denser, but after a while, the upper portion becomes crystal clear. And that's like our mind when we're on search for this great mirror of truth. We start out, and our denser aspects at first blind us, but as they are transcended, we eventually have clear penetration of the mysteries that this great mirror of truth reveal. For centuries, as I said, people throughout the world have been searching for these pieces. And I have too. In 1982, I was studying the Vedic texts. It was October 12th, actually. And it was around 2 o'clock in the morning, and I was just stopping for a moment and doing a meditation after being reading and summarizing Vedic writings. As I did this, in this meditation, I got very inspired and spontaneously started writing an outline of a series of courses that I felt that I would like to share. I had so much information in me from all the research that I've been doing that I couldn't wait to bring that to people. And that night, something called the Concourse of Wisdom came to me. Concourse meant a confluence of people gathered for the sake of finding the mirror of truth. And wisdom being the ultimate pinnacle of that expression, the love of wisdom and the wisdom of love, philosophia. And so I started outlining and taking and summarizing all the different disciplines that I could get and study throughout the world, and put them together into a cohesive system that was congruent, that was not, confusing, but clarity, bringing clarity. I started then presenting programs. I remember I literally outlined 300 individual little classes. They were weekly classes. And I sat there for 4 hours nonstop, writing as fast as I could with tears in my eyes, writing these things out. I presented the class, and I selected 27 of the most brilliant people that I knew in the city of Houston at the time. And I did this presentation, and it was on the relationship between our journey from our mortal self to our mortal self, from our mundane self to our sublime self, from our unclear self to our self-mastered essential being, our ground of substance and being that we have inside, and about a mastery, the path of mastery. At the end of the class, people were inspired. They had tears in their eyes. They was grateful. And I asked them if they'd like to join again. I'm beginning the second class of the 300 classes. And the following week, few people came. And then I told them that if you wanted to continue, there'd be certain responsibilities. And then the following week, nobody came. And I realized that I had gone too steep with the information. I had to do it in little layers. I had gone too fast with the depth of information. So I later calmed it down and created a curriculum. I redid the concourse into layers. I had the breakthrough experience, which is the program that I've been taught now 1,100 and going on 11 times this weekend. My prophecy program, which is for us to be a prophet of our own destiny, a wise individual that has decided their own destiny, captain of their ship, master of their fate. And then I also put together the Empyreans, which I learned from Dante, which is the imperial abode, which is the highest state of awareness that a human being could have. And then mastery courses, and then the edifice program, and the coronation program. I put together a whole series of classes progressively expanding human consciousness in the awareness of the mastery of the basic areas of life and beyond. Asking very important questions. Who are we? This is an ontological question of who am I? People ask that. And there is an answer. And it's not too mystical. One's hierarchy of values dictates this. Whatever is highest on an individual's values, their identity revolves around and their path evolves around. Epistemologically, this is where they know themselves the most. Teleologically, this is where they know their mission and purpose. There is a science. It's not a hit and miss. It's a reproducible, duplicatable science on the mastery of knowing oneself, being willing to live purposefully, and to do something extraordinary on the planet. This is what the purpose of the Mirror of Truth was about, to have the ordinary become extraordinary, the masses become master, the ignorant become wise. And this is what I've been dedicated to for 47, 48 years. I have been absolutely on a relentless pursuit of that. It still brings me tears of inspiration thinking about it now as it did when I was in 1982, when I got the concourse. The concourse then was told that it would reach the world, and we have. We now have students in every country around the world. And I've been to 154 countries speaking, but I've actually have students now in every country because of Zoom and social media. So we're thankful for that. Whoever designed these really did contribute. And I'm able to speak to you because of that. But one thing I'm certain about, that this mirror of truth, deep inside all of us, it's the alchemy of our own life. It's about taking our base metals and making them the fine precious metals, the gold. Not just metaphorically, but literally. Gold means AU, it's a symbolism which means light. It's about enlightening our own being. It's about becoming aware. See, we go around and we live in our animal nature sometimes, where we're impulsive towards things we seek and instinctually away from things that we avoid. And we're automatons reacting to misperceptions and run extrinsically by misperceptions of our outer world. Our subjective biases that, in a sense, lopside our reality and keep us from being empowered. I've been working for many, many years on a system, which I call the Demartini method, which is a series of questions that are wise, intuitive questions that lead to the heart and open the heart and allow you to see the great mirror of truth. You know, as the theologian said, when the hand of God slides over the mirror of truth, he seals the cracks and puts all the pieces back, and all of a sudden you get a glimmering of what's wise inside you. All of my classes and the Demartini method were designed for that objective. So you can know yourself, so you can be yourself, so you can love yourself, and you can do the contribution and service that makes the difference on the world that you're here to play with. You're here to do something extraordinary. You're not ordinary. But if you subordinate to the world on the outside and live in conformity instead of enormity, and fit in and survive instead of thrive, then you will not access the mirror of truth. You'll not be ready for it. You won't have equanimity, which it takes to be able to see into the mirror itself. See, what happens is sometimes the truth frightens people. I've been teaching the breakthrough experience, my signature program, for many years, almost 2 years. And sometimes facing the truth of our nature is frightening. We don't realize that everybody around us is a reflection. Everything is a reflection. And that includes the hero and the villain, the saint and the sinner, and the virtue and the vice, and everything around us. If we want to know the truth of the mirror of truth, we have to actually embrace all aspects of ourselves. We can't shed one side and think, oh, we're going to get rid of that side and only be this side. The entire self-improvement mythology has hampered the mirror of truth. It's not helped, it's hindered, because it's misleading people into thinking that they can get rid of half of themselves and only be one-sided. And the idea that perfection is one-sided instead of both-sided. And the integration. How are we going to have a balance in our physiology if we don't have a balance in our expectations and reality? And I'm a firm believer that the mirror of truth is awakened the people who are ready, the ones who are willing to embrace all sides of themselves and the world around them, and is able to set objectives that are actually ones that are inspiring, that's authentic, that are essentially spontaneous in their expression within the individual. I've watched people that basically try to be somebody they're not, bang their head against the wall, self-depreciate, compare themselves to others, hold themselves back, live with anxiety, live with self-depreciation, wonder why the world seems to be against them, when none of that is real. What's actual in our world is that we have the capacity to do something extraordinary on the planet. And all we have to do is be ourselves. And that's what all of my courses are set up. My entire Concourse of Wisdom, which is 76 courses, is designed as a unique curriculum designed to help people navigate through the matrix, the labyrinth of existence, and help them realize that they can do something amazing. I'm a firm believer that you can actually wake up your genius. I know in my own life that was my mission since my 20s. I want to create original ideas that serve humanity. And I'm absolutely certain that's doable. I'm living it. I'm watching it. Original ideas that no one's put on the planet, that are out there making a contribution. And I think being an unborrowed visionary and doing something extraordinary with life is what you want. And you don't have to accept anything less than that. You don't have to be living in mediocrity. You don't have to live in quiet lives of desperation. You can do something extraordinary. I'm a believer you have a genius inside. I've worked with thousands of kids. I've worked with adults. I mean, I'm absolutely certain that it's sitting inside, but it takes you willing to be authentic and living integrally according to what you value most to awaken it. And if you're not giving yourself permission to do that, and you're comparing yourself to others instead of comparing your daily actions to your own dreams, you won't awaken it and see it. I love helping people get that. I want to help you do that. You deserve that. That's the true you. The magnificence of who you are is greater than all the delusions you may put on yourself. And that's the mirror of truth. When you can look in the mirror and see yourself and embrace the self, you've integrated your fragments and splintered components and personas and masks that you exaggerate and minimize yourself with, that are lost, that are hidden by your lower nature. It can't be seen. It's too subjective biased to see this great objective truth about our life. We also have the capacity to do something of great service with equanimity and equity, where we're doing the thing that we can't wait to get up in the morning and do, and serve people, and do it in a way that actually inspires them and serves them. And I'm a firm believer that that's doable. And it doesn't matter where you started. What matters is, are you going to follow the principles that stood the test of time, which leads to the enlightened mirror of truth. And this is something fulfilling. People live in a delusion that they want to avoid pain and seek pleasure, avoid predators, seek prey. They live of trying to polarize themselves and divide the magnet up and get one side of a magnet, which is futile. It's not ever going to happen. Utility is different than futility. And utility is the fulfillment of making a difference in serving other people and filling their voids and needs. And the service that you love doing that is inspiring to you, doing that is a niche of fulfillment. I've asked people by the thousands, how many of you had fulfillment when they make a difference in people's lives? And the hands go up. You don't want to escape. Most people are doing quiet lives of desperation, doing a job they don't want to do, having Monday morning blues, Wednesday hump days, thank God it's Fridays, week friggin' ends. They're not inspired by what they do. They want to escape with a vacation. They want to escape with an hour break, or sneak off to get a sugar fix at some Starbucks thing. And they want to take a vacation or, retire or something like that because they haven't found the mission. I want to help you find your mission. You don't need to be motivated. Motivation is a symptom. The solution is an intrinsic calling inside that's inspiring, guided by the mirror of truth. When you can look in the mirror and you can see the truth of your own nature, and it's enlightened enough to be able to embrace your life and say, thank you, you got the mirror of truth. That's what every one of my courses are designed to do, to help people do that. I knew by Zig Ziglar, when I met him when I was in my 20s, if I help other people get what they want to get in life, I get what I want to get in life. And I wanted to live by the mirror of truth. And I know deep inside, no matter what your facade is that's covering it, there's a deep part of you that knows that's true and what you want to do. There's also an abundant financial opportunity for everybody who is living authentically, serving people and valuing themselves. Because when you live by your highest values and live by priorities and it serves other people, your self-worth goes up and your net worth compensates, and you deserve to be remunerated for great services, and you deserve to be able to put some of that into asset accumulated wealth building systems so you can passively have an income where you don't have to work because you have to, you work because you love to. And you build up a mastery and exemplification of what's possible economically on the planet. I believe you deserve that and have that. You yearn for that. And even though you pretend that's not important to you, deep inside, you don't like struggling and living in poverty and slavery. Penury is not the answer. But wisdom is mastering money. If you're working for it, it runs you. You're its slave. If you are mastering it, you're its master. And I believe you're here to design to do that. I think you're also designed to have an amazing relationship and be able to have communication and appreciation. True intimacy is not some passionate, impulsive lust system. That's not what intimacy is. Intimacy is to have the realization that what you see in other people is a perfect reflection of yourself, and there's no missingness in what you see in them inside you. And you can identify reflectively with reflective consciousness and self-awareness and introspection, that nature. When you can realize that everything you see in them is inside you and your own expression and your own unique set of values, you have true intimacy, where nothing's missing. You're not in a relationship because you got to or need to or have to or any of the imperatives. You're there because you love to. You want to share with that individual. You have love for them. and you're not in desperation. You're not in an illusion of missingness. Nothing's ever missing in your life, but you may have an addiction and fantasy about forms it's supposed to be in, and therefore thinking you're missing things, and therefore disempower your relationship dynamic, and then search out of desperation and project your unrealistic expectations and others to live in your needs. And this erodes it and gives feedback in relationship dynamics, and it allows you to eventually discover the mirror of truth. When you realize that there's nothing but grace, there's nothing but love there, there's a presence there, and it doesn't matter where the individual is, there's no locality. It's non-locally kind of an entangled loving when you're there. And also socially, the authentic you is a leader. It automatically emerges spontaneously when you're giving yourself permission to not put people above or below you, not splinter the world and fragment yourself and fragment others with all kinds of social hierarchical illusions about who they are, instead of realizing that they're, in a sense, fully functioning, self-actualized souls and individuals that are not fragmented unless you put labels on them with your subjective biases. When you finally realize that there's nothing missing in them and nothing missing you, there's a natural yearning to want to respectfully communicate and offer, in a sense, your heart to help them fulfill what their meaning is, what's meaningful to them, and to lead them and direct them, not by coercion, not by aristocracy or oligarchy, or it's simply by inspiration and vision. I was at the Self-Realization Center many years ago, 30, 40 years ago almost, in San Diego, California. And I asked a woman there, how did they build this center? And they said that Yogananda came here and he was so inspiring one day that people just had to want to help him. And people started to put the thing together. It was a spontaneous thing. He didn't even ask him. But a designer came, an architect came, they held the vision and manifested. And an individual that's really inspired by what they do and clear and lucid in their mission and is willing to be the master of their life, automatically synchronizes people, places, things, ideas, and events into their life to manifest those goals. And I believe that that's what's possible for each of us. That's when I put the curriculum for. I wanted people to learn the greatest information that's on the face of the earth by the greatest minds who ever lived, and summarize them and synthesize and stand on the shoulders of giants and do something amazing and learn the tool, the Demartini method, so they can ask quality questions and have their intuition and inspiration guide their life instead of their impulses and instincts as an animal. I think they're an angel in the making. An angel is a messenger of light. I believe that we are here to be messengers with a message, bringing what is unique in our own unique expression of values into the world and enlightening the world on our own expression and our own exemplification. I believe also that our physiology is providing us feedback with symptoms. We've been so hoodwinked by the pharmaceutical industry and the medical profession that the symptom is somehow unhealthy, when in fact, symptoms are part of well-being. If you pig out and you overeat and you get symptoms the next day, your body is trying to reveal to you your foolish behavior, your ungoverned, uncontrolled impulses and instincts that are stopping you from living with reason and objectivity and balance. And the symptoms are misleadingness. We think we got to get rid of the symptoms. We think that's health. We take a pill for every ill, and we don't actually take accountability for our behaviors. And this is exactly what the Demartini method and the breakthrough experience for, is to learn how to master our life and balance our perceptions so we're not dependent as a drug taker. That's the last resort, not the first resort for a master. So I'm a believer that we're here to empower our physiology. I'll be 66 here in less than 2 months, and I'm full on. I go to full schedules. I have intense activities. And people wonder where I get my energy. And it's very simple. You're doing what you're here to do. You're on your mission. And you don't live to eat, you eat to live. You eat prioritized food, you do prioritize actions, you prioritize who you're interacting with, you prioritize your services, and you live by priority. How do you expect to empower yourself if you're not living by priority and not delegating lower priority things to people who have that as their highest priority thing? Therefore, engaging in the resources wisely to go out and do something empowering. And spiritually, if we have a balanced mind by living by our highest values and we're inspired by what we do spontaneously, we automatically, and sitting there, instead of going around with rituals and artificial things from possibly antiquated dogmas of the past, we're living present in the matrix of life, contributing, knowing full well that there's a higher order to our apparent chaos, and we look for it and we find it in the mirror of truth that's sitting inside all of us in our heart. It is constantly trying to intuitively reveal to us something profound. It's whispering to us to guide us to live authentic lives where we're actually inspired by what we do, loving what we do with transcendental awareness, inspired, enthused, grateful, certain, present, not uncertain and wavering and self-depreciating like most people who are living under futility, quiet life of desperation. We're not here to subordinate. We're here to ordinate. We're not here to look down on people or up at people. We're here to look across at people caringly, and communicate respectfully to them in their values, and do what we're here to do, and do it in a way where we honor them doing what they would love to do, and having enough reflective awareness to see that there's whatever we see in them is inside us. If we're too proud or too humble to admit what we see in others inside us, we won't have the intimate relationships that create sustainable, fair exchange relationships with others. And we won't build momentum socially and spiritually in our lives. So we have to give ourselves permission to shine and look in the mirror of truth. The mirror of truth is constantly revealing equanimity to us. It's revealing to us the matrix of love. I've been teaching the breakthrough experience for, as I said, for almost 2 years. And one thing I've discovered in the Demartini method, and what I call columns 6 and 13, is that no matter what's going on, the equal and opposite's always there. Our consciousness always maintains a homeostasis. I've discovered a new psychology. The antiquated psychology I see around us is very victim-oriented. It's very hypocrisy-oriented. It's morally inept in its approach, and it's basically living in the dark ages. It's time for a new psychology. It's time for a new awareness of spirituality that's available to us. And this is what I'm trying to offer in the Concourse of Wisdom. It's not for people that just want to go and do entertainment. It's not for people who want to stand on chairs and go rah-rah. It's not for people that want to look the part and hang out with the people and fit in. It's not a herd instinct. It's people who are on a path of mastery. Concourse of Wisdom is a group of people that are dedicated to the wisdom of love and the love of wisdom. When I was 14 years old, I met Howard Hughes. He took me to a library and he told me there's only 2 things they can never take away from you in your life, and that is your love and wisdom. Although it was not till I was 17 that I got a glimpse of what my mission was. And it wasn't until 1982 when I put the concourse together. One thing I'm certain about, that the mirror of truth leads to love and wisdom. There's nothing but love, all else is illusion, ultimately in the universe. And the wisdom of seeing that is really what it's about. And that we have a massive contribution. We play a much significant role in this universe than we realize. And we right now, even though we're on this tiny planet in a little small Milky Way, in a local cluster, in a Virgo cluster, in a super galaxy cluster of Laniakea, and within the Great Wall and the Great Attractor and the foam of cosmos, no matter what we do, we still have a significance on the planet. As Arthur Eddington said, when the electron vibrates, the universe shakes. And we have the power to do something significant on the planet. And we're not here to exaggerate or minimize it. We're here to live it and fulfill it. And deep inside, you know what it is. But sometimes we compare ourselves to others and cloud the clarity of what it's calling us, representing. So I want to give us permission to do that. And I want you to come and join me in the Concourse of Wisdom. I promise you a curriculum like you'll not find anywhere else on the planet, and I'm certain about that. I ask people at each of my classes, how many of you have learned something this week or this weekend or these 2 weeks that you could have gone your whole life and never have learned? And every hand goes up in every class I give. So if you're interested in probing deeper into the mysteries of existence, you're interested in studying physics and metaphysics, and studying the profane and the sacred, and study everything in between, and the sciences and the religions and the philosophies and the universal principles of life, then I'm absolutely certain that the concourse can be of great value to you. And I know the breakthrough experience, which is the center part, will be the first step in that journey. Be prepared for a new awakening, a new trajectory, because your perspective is about to change. You're not going to see the same life you've had. You're going to realize you have power. You don't have to be victims of history. You can be a master of destiny. You don't have to sit there and blame things and give credit to things on the outside, when the truth is it's nothing but a reflection of what's inside. You know, in the Bardo Thadal, the Tibetan Book of the Dead, at the moment of passing, it asks an individual, on the moment of passing, on the way of the light of the void, you'll be confronted by peaceful and wrathful deities, but fear not, for they are nothing more than reflections of your own projections of your own mind. And this is what we find. We see the world around us, we give power to the world around us and don't realize that it's a reflection of the world within us. It's an hallucinatory expression of what goes on inside. But if we go and we find the mirror of truth, which is what the concourse is about, and what I put together, you can go through and start to see and glimmer of what's really possible inside your life. And I'm absolutely certain that it's more profound than you first realize. So if you're ready to go on a journey and want to go and study the masters and stand on the shoulders of giants, as Sir Isaac Newton, from Pythagoras all the way to the greatest minds through history, thousands, I'm talking about thousands of great minds I've been going through and summarizing and synthesizing and syncretizing their work. If you're interested in that, come and join the concourse. Come at the breakthrough experience. And if that's not for you, then that's fine. May you go on your journey in its natural way, but you may end up having to do trial and error instead of standing on the shoulders of giants. Trial and error is definitely not as effective as foresight, planning, and learning from those that are go on the path. You want to be an unborrowed visionary, but you want to stand on the shoulders of visionaries. So I'm offering that to you. I want you to come and join me. I want you to come to the breakthrough experience, see about what this concourse of wisdom that I put together for you is. And that's it. I just wanted to do that because the mirror of truth is inside your heart, waiting to be discovered. But all of the personas and fragments that you have that have interfered with the communication of your heart to your own center of being is keeping you from acknowledging and realizing the great mirror of truth that you have inside. The master inside you is waiting to be revealed. I will do everything I can to help you experience it. And before I close, I just want to offer you a little gift. It's called Awakening your Astronomical Vision. The Awakening Astronomical Vision is a program, little presentation I did, 2 hours, dedicated to expanding your vision astronomically. You won't make a difference in your own life unless you have a vision beyond it. And the astronomical vision is a very powerful vision I gave at a planetarium to a group of executives and to help them expand their vision to do something global. If you feel you're here to do something amazing, this little CD will be something I promise you will say thank you by listening to. And also, if you're on a journey of mastery, I'm on that journey too. And I know I can save you some time. So I look forward to seeing you at the Breakthrough Experience. Please take advantage of this gift, and I'll see you on the next lifetime presentation. Thank you for being with me today. May you go deep inside yourself and really soul search and find out if you're ready for the concourse. If you are, please find a way of being there. I promise you it'll be a life-changing experience. Thank you. Thank you for joining me for this presentation today. If you found value out of the presentation, please go below and please share your comments. We certainly appreciate that feedback. And be sure to subscribe and hit the notification icons. That way I can bring more content to you and share more to help you maximize your life. I look forward to our next presentation. Thank you so much for joining.